Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Today in the shop we have this 2005 Buick LaCrosse. It actually has a real Buick engine under the hood, the 3800. That's nice to see. I'm a big fan of these V6 power plants. And customer complaint was, he said a few days ago his check engine light came on and the car started kind of hesitating, especially when you're taking off from like a stoplight. He said it almost stalls out. And then he said he's also been having this ongoing idling problem when he starts the car up, especially after it's warmed up, and it just dies. And he starts it up, and then it dies. And he starts it up, and he gives it a little gas, then it stays running, and then it runs fine, you know, for a while. So let's just plug in the scanner, see what codes we come up with, and see if we can get this Buick back in top shape. Alright, let's see if the seats are as soft as they were in the 90s Buicks. Not really. I prefer like a 94 vintage with the sweet dashboard that goes all the way across. You can fit like 8 people. Here it's like, you know, it's alright I guess. But 10 years later, it's just not the same. Key on. So turn the lights off, don't kill the battery. Let's jump in here. Already saved it in history from a quick scan when the owner dropped it off, but I wanted to do a complete diag on it. Scanner. Auto ID. I mean, it should just jump right in. There it is. Yep, 2005 Buick LaCrosse. I'll go right for the engine. This does not have an air pump. So I guess it's like a federal emissions vehicle. And let's look at our codes. Alright, what do we have here? Heater control circuit, heater, bank 1 sensor 1, heater resistance, range performance. Let's see, coolant thermostat, O2 heater circuit, bank 1 sensor 1. Okay, well, so do they really need 3 codes to tell you that the heater is bad? Okay, so there's the codes. Let's back out of here. Engine's cold right now. I just want to start it up and see how it runs and look at the data just while it's idling. Let's do that. Alright, let's customize the list. So look, engine speed, idle. If it's stalling out, we want to see the desired idle. It has a thermostat code. We'll look at the coolant temperature, intake air, mass airflow, what else? TPS, that's pretty important. This is a drive-by-wire system. And then open loop, closed loop. And then our oxygen sensors and fuel trims. I think that should be a good list. Okay. So first thing I want to do is monitor how fast this oxygen sensor, the bank 1 sensor 1, heats up. Start it up. It started up fine. It seems to be idling okay. Let's watch some data. So we're still in open loop here. We can graph the other oxygen sensor. So you can see they start at 450 millivolts, which is, the baseline kind of bias voltage, and then as they heat up, they'll start working. Look at this. Sensor 2 looks like it's starting to work. Voltage is dropping. Sensor 1 looks like it's dead in the water. It should have obviously come on right now. It should actually activate faster than the downstream because it's closer to the, you know, hot exhaust gases in the exhaust manifold. So it's starting to do something, but we can definitely suspect a bad heating element or heater circuit for the upstream. And we're still in open loop. So it should be in closed loop by now, for sure. I'm going to give it a little bit of gas. See if this thing wakes up just by heating it with the exhaust. There you go, see? Closed loop. It's oscillating. We'll let it idle again. Okay, so now it seems to be awake. The exhaust gas has heated it up. The amplitude isn't great. It goes to, you know, 0.9, but down here it only goes to like 0.4. So I don't really like the amplitude, and you know, it's not being heated, so that's a problem. So I think that's a good amount of data there. Let's look at how fast our engine's heating up. So there's our coolant temp. Right now it's at 114. That's not terrible. I don't know why the computer's so stringent on how fast the engine heats up on that 128 code. What we could do, a quick check for your thermostat, is while the engine is under operating temp, this upper radiator hose, there shouldn't be any coolant going to the radiator. Sorry about the belt squeal. So this hose should be cold until that thermostat opens. And right now, it's actually pretty cold. It's not even lukewarm. So seems like the engine is warming up just fine. We're at 125 now. You know, temperature gauge is climbing. The only thing that the other thing could set this code is if the thermostat is just, you know, lost its calibration and it opens up earlier, like, you know, 10 or 20 degrees before the set point, the engine will never actually reach operating temperature, and then you'll set this code. So we can take it for a test drive, you know, try to recreate some problems. You know, we already have a definite problem with the oxygen sensor. So, you know, we can save this initial data capture, and once it's warmed up, we can try it now. Let's shut it off. Okay. Turn it on. And see if it starts up. Oh, okay. So that was another customer complaint. Shut it off. On, and starts up. Oh, that time it stayed running. Okay. Try again. Shut it off. Key on. And died. Why? Why does that happen? Well, let's take a look at another data pin, the TPS. So, let's get rid of that guy. So the TPS right now is showing 19%, right? We could even expand it that way so you guys can see better. That's with the key on, engine off. I turn the key off. It does a self-calibration, goes to 0 and back to 20, ready for startup. Now I turn the key on, ready to start. We're down to 8%. Okay, let's fire it up. Now back to 19%. Why is that? It just went up on its own. It didn't do anything. Let's see it. Start up. Stalled out. And we're down to 8%. What the heck? Let's try again. Nope. No bones. what I'm going to try to do is actually press the gas a little bit. And now start it up. Let it run. And now look, the idle, you know, it's a nice steady idle. We're at 13%. That's where the throttle plate needs to be to maintain this idle. If we're down at 8%, this engine stalls out. So I believe this is just a simple case of a dirty throttle body. You know, the gunk builds up and restricts the airflow, so the throttle plate needs to be open further to maintain the same idle. But the computer, you know, still thinks that we should be at 8%. We shouldn't be at 13 to maintain, you know, 700 RPM. And it just tries that and it stalls the engine out until it relearns every time. I'm surprised it's not setting some kind of TPS or, you know, out of performance or out of range or something. But I believe here we are dealing with a dirty throttle body. So several issues. We could take it for a test drive, see how it drives, see if we can make it like hesitate or stall out. But with a bad oxygen sensor and a dirty throttle body, that's already two strikes against this thing for drivability. So I don't know, should we waste time on it or verify, you know, make if there's the oxygen sensor actually bad? If it is, replace it and clean the throttle body out and then drive it, and if we can't recreate it, then it's all good. I don't know, what would you guys do? Would you waste time in a test drive in this case? I just want to get this thing fixed. Let's take it on a test drive, see if it stalls out. I'm just curious. Well, like I thought, test drive was kind of a waste of time. It didn't stall out, it drove okay. A little sluggish off of, you know, taking off, but maybe it's just the way the Buick is programmed. But let's get her fixed. All right, let's dive in under the hood. The Upstream oxygen sensor is actually conveniently accessible right up here. Exhaust manifold. There's just one because the manifolds come into, you know, it's a V6, so front bank crossover pipe joins the rear, and finally, after the connection, the oxygen sensor just sits right there. And the plug is right up here. I mean, how beautiful is that? Let's unplug that guy, and just judging by the wiring colors here, there's two browns, a white, and a purple, and the two browns have to go to the heater. So let's just do a resistance check right on that connector. Should be easy enough. Get our trusty voltmeter out. The vintage Beckman Industrial. There, set that guy there. We're just going to touch it on the pins. How do I do this so you guys can see both things? Well, voltmeter is more important, right? There, you can see the number. You can see my leads. We're just doing the two brown wires right here. So we're at infinity. Touch the two pins. And we have pretty much, yeah, infinite resistance. No continuity across those pins. Heater's burned out. 100% verified. Now, if you want to go the extra step, you can plug in a little test light right across the heater wires, you know, the corresponding ones. So the two browns would be these two guys here and here. Let's just do that just for the sake of, you know, what if your heater wasn't burned out in the sensor? What's the next step to do? All right, let's get our favorite mini test light plugged in across those two pins. Make sure that the needles don't touch each other, because that wouldn't be good. Blow a fuse, cook the computer driver, don't want to do that. Let's just put the light right there, you guys can see it. Turn the key on. This light is not lit. Don't want to camera fall in the alternator here. So there's the test light right there. So we'll start it up and see if that guy lights up. There we go. That's an interesting strategy. So it's pulsing. The PCM is pulsing that heater. So we know we have power going to that heater. We know we have ground side control on the PCM. Everything's good. Let's pop that new sensor in and clean that throttle body out. Well, I got a replacement oxygen sensor from Fisher Auto Parts. It's a Denso. There's a part number 2344646, and it was a bit confusing to figure out if this was for a California model or for a federal model, because looking at this emission sticker, it says this vehicle conforms to US EPA regulations and California regulations applicable to new LEV2 passenger cars, certified to clean fuel fleet standards. So, like, well, is it California then? It also says US EPA regulations. So I actually went to the dealer, got the part number, you know, for the sensor by the VIN, and then went to Rock Auto, and it was like, you know, federal, California, or federal tier 2. So anyways, this sensor is actually listed as the federal sensor, and that's the one that, you know, matched the part number of the GM dealership, you know, crossed over to the Denso. Anyways, it was a little pain in the butt to find the right sensor, but let's pop it in. Shouldn't be too bad. And fire this baby up. So let's see if this combo of socket, extension, and swivel head ratchet will do the trick. Oh, come on, that was sweet. Awesome. I like it when oxygen sensors come out that easy. Usually if you actually warm up the vehicle, they'll come out easier than if you try it cold. You just twist the wire. Look at that. Sweet. Extracted. Alright. There you go. Unboxing the new sensor. And I love that Denso includes these little packets of anti-seize, because you can use these for other stuff. I mean, they give you like so much. It's a lot more than you need for one sensor. So instead of buying anti-seize, I just have a whole bunch of Denso packets in my mobile toolbox, and they're fantastic. You can just, like, I don't want to open this new one, so we'll throw this one in here. We'll grab a used one. And you know, why waste the good stuff? Just put a little bit on the threads here. That's it. How fun is it to watch someone else put an oxygen sensor in a really hot exhaust manifold? I could see what I was doing here. You guys can't see anything from me. There we go. Let's tighten her down. Torque the spec. Alright, that's it. 1, 2, barbecue, plug it in. We could measure the resistance of the new sensor just to have a reference. I'm curious. And the resistance of the new sensor is 16.7 ohms. Awesome. Plug this bad boy in. Clip in. Yeah, that's good. Oh, there you go. That's what you want to hear. Well, that was like the easiest oxygen sensor replacement I've ever done in my life. Definitely easier than a Euro or something. But let's fire it up before we clean the throttle body just to see how fast it warms up. Might have to reset the codes to, get the heater to kick on. But, we're almost there. Alright, keys on. Data. Engine. Our list is still there. Awesome. So we're at bias voltage right now. Let's start it up and see how fast it goes in a closed loop. If it decides to run. There you go. See the TPS? It went from 6 to like 13. Make it happy. But we're interested in our sensor, which is reacting nicely. Most excellent. Closed loop. Boom. That's what we want to see. Short term, long term trim. Minus 12 and plus 25. Oh my gosh. What's going on here? What the? Open loop? What happened? Closed loop again. Look at that. Fuel trim's climbing. We're only getting to 500 millivolts. What the heck is going on? Open loop again. Alright, just a sec. Let's shut it. I want to save that data. That was not expected. Why isn't this thing oscillating? What the hell's going on? Alright, let's back out of here. I want to erase these codes because, who knows what the computer is thinking now. Codes, clear. Yes. Oh, what the heck? Oh yeah, key needs to be on. Before erasing the codes, I was just curious to get the freeze frame data for this P0128 coolant thermostat, just to see what made it set. Check this out. Mileage since last failure, 5,000 miles. So, apparently it's been fine for 5,000 miles. So, coolant temperature 165, engine speed 2200 RPM, and engine runtime 8 minutes. So in 8 minutes, if it warmed up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, it wasn't happy with that, apparently. What was the intake airtime? Was 48, so having on a cool day, so I expected it to warm up faster than in 8 minutes. So just for reference, that's the freeze frame. But we're going to delete these codes now if the Varus decides to cooperate. All right, back. Clear codes. Yes. Okay. No codes present. Alright. Well, now let's go back to data. I'm concerned about the oxygen sensor. I am concerned that did not go past 500 millivolts. Alright, here we go. We're back to bias voltage. And look at our TPS. 14. Okay. So closed loop goes up. Is it happy now? Look at that amplitude. 0.2 to 0.8. Perfect, right? So why wasn't it happy before? Because we didn't clear the codes? That's my only explanation. It looks fine now. We raise the RPMs a little bit. See, there's definitely some strategy stuff going on, but it's definitely reaching minimum and maximum amplitude. The computer staying in closed loop, that's key. And the trims are minus 14 and 1. Let's raise the RPMs a little bit. Minus 14 long term. That's not great. How do we explain that? Well, if this thing ran for a while with the oxygen sensor bad and the fuel ratio wasn't right, the computer could have overfueled it and caused it to the oil get contaminated with fuel. So keep that in mind. Minus 17, yeah. But now let's fix this TPS. So this should be like 5% idle, not 12 or 13. But the oxygen sensor, that is fixed. Alright, let's get to this throttle body. This whole freaking plastic thing pops off if you take off the oil fill pipe, and we got mouse nests and leaves, all this good stuff. We're going after this guy. Let's pop off this hose here and just get in there with some carb clean. Clean that sucker out. Alright, throttle body time. I'll do a couple hose clamps. There's that PCV hose, and guys, just slip right on out of there. Easy. Easy. Now we get to look inside and see the black ring of doom. That is completely sludged up, nasty. To get some Eric O style brake clean. It's not the right brand, I know. Anything will do, really. I'll get that guy open. Oh man, that throttle body is completely junked up with crap. It's amazing how a little buildup can cause such a drastic change in throttle opening angle, and your idle suffers. That looks a lot better. This thing is still wicked hot. There, you guys get the idea. A little scrubby. Should be as good as new. Whew. You can see already that it's so much cleaner. I'm going to do the upper part. We'll start this thing up. Alright, sweet. Everything's bolted back on. I'm actually surprised this thing has an aluminum intake manifold. Usually they're plastic and they like leak and stuff, but this thing is rock solid. I don't know if they upgraded that after all the complaints. Alright, back to our data list. Buick should be feeling better already. Let's see, key on. Okay, there's our TPS, right? 6%. 19%. Much better. No more like harsh stumble or hesitation. Right where we want it, and it's at 6%. That is beautiful. Look at that. Desired idle. Engine speed. We'll rev it up a little bit. Look at that throttle response. Woo! Now I want to take it on a test drive. So now we're down to 5 and 4%. 3%. That's awesome. So that's a clean throttle body. Before we were at 13%, now we're at 3. Confirmed, fix. Save that little guy. Look at our trims again, long term, short term. Well, that's interesting. Look at that, the long term is coming up back to 0, and the short term is coming also back down to 0. So look at that. Okay, that is really neat. By cleaning the throttle body, we fixed a fuel trim problem. Wow, I didn't know that would be a side effect of this. That's really cool. Didn't see that coming. So maybe we helped them avoid a potential, lean code or rich code. I guess it was minus, right? They thought you're stepping on the gas, but really that was just to maintain the idle. So the computer is, isn't that smart. Look at that, beautiful. 3%, minus 3, 2. It's like perfect. Perfect. We're at 3% TPS. I'm very, very happy with this result. Look at our oxygen sensor for a second here. We're oscillating nicely. Full amplitude swing. Boom. Up and down all the way. That's awesome. Save that just in case the customer is like picky and wants verification. But this is fantastic. Right at 0. It's like a new car. Let's take it for one last spin, and we'll call this one fixed. And by the way, he decided not to fix the squeaky belt or the thermostat, since people are on a budget. It's understandable. But again, the thermostat, the last time it threw that code was like 5,000 miles ago. So maybe it fixed itself. And that belt, I don't hear it squeaking anymore. Maybe the car feels so good that even the belt stops squeaking. How about that? So let's take it for a last spin, and that'll be it. All right, final verification of repair. Just make sure we didn't set any codes. Awesome. That is it. That's it. So easy fix. The diagnosis was spot on. It doesn't need a thermostat. That's fine, and the belt stopped squealing. So I guess this car is like completely awesomely as good as new. So appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.